Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this simple tutorial, I'm going to help you master Markdown. So what is Markdown? It's a simple lightweight markup language for creating formatted text using plain text. So as you go on, you're going to be understanding what I'm talking about. So using this Markdown, it's another way how we can style our text on the web. For example, on GitHub, when you create a readme file, there is a way you will be able to style it, and you can't write it like normal HTML. You use a language called Markdown. So let me show you how a readme file looks like. When you upload a readme file to your repo with this extension of .md.markdown, then GitHub will read this file and display it here. So what this readme file does, it's another way that you can introduce or explain your project to the users. So right now I have these files, and for the users to know how to use these files, you need to write Markdown and tell your users what they will be using those files for and how. So this is the readme file, and to create this readme file you use that language, and it's the language that I'm going to be teaching you in this simple tutorial. Very simple. So the first thing that you have to do for the sake of this tutorial, go to your extension section, extensions, and install an extension called Auto Open Markdown Preview, created by this publisher HNW. So make sure you have this extension installed, because it helps you preview the Markdown that you're going to be writing and see it in real time. To go back to our file, you can create your file. So I have a simple folder here called Markdown, and inside it I have another subfolder called img, where I put some simple image, because I'm going to be showing you I can insert images in your files, for example the readme file. So we are going to create a simple file here. You can call it anything you want for the sake of this tutorial, but for the sake of GitHub you have to call it readme. But here we are going to call it sample.md. So you can write the full language name .markdown, or use the short syntax or short way .md. Either way it can work. So sample.md, so .markdown. And the moment we create this file and open it, the other extension that I showed you, it will create a preview window here on the right hand side. So whatever we write here, you will be seeing it in real time. And for the starter, we are going to start with the headers. So this is the most important part if you want to create headings for your subtexts. So for the headers, as in HTML, they go up to 6. So the way you have H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6, in Markdown you create such headings using the hash symbol or the pound symbol. So you write hash, so that's the symbol, and that stands for heading 1. So heading 1. And for starter, it will even have some simple text decoration of underline, so they will give it some light underline below it. Then for H2, as it is in HTML, here in Markdown we use 2 hash symbols, and that will be heading 2. You guessed it right. For the heading 3 we use 3 hash symbols, heading 3. Then H4, right? Then H5, you guessed it right, that will be heading 5. H6, the same, you guessed it right. And that will be the smallest heading. So as I said, in HTML you go up to H6. Here we write 6 hashes. Very simple. So that's one way of creating heading. So depending on the heading you will be wanting to use in your file, let's say the readme file it's the one that I'm going to be referencing at, because it's what you use when you're creating a readme file on GitHub. So depending on the heading you want, you'll be using these hash symbols. Very, very simple. So let us go to emphasis or styling your text. So I'm going to reuse these headings. So I'm going to use heading 2, and I say styling text. Very, very simple. So below here you can make your text italic, bold, you can underline, strike through, stuff like that. So to make your text italic, it has two syntax. First, you can use a single asterisk and you say this text is italic. Make sure it is right to the italic, so make sure the asterisk is right at the start. No, don't leave a space, and end it this side, and we'll make it italic. Another way is to use underscore. This is also italic, and end it with the underscore, and that will also be italic. Very, very simple. So let's go on. If you want to make some text bold, let us leave here for them to be on different lines. Let us leave spaces there. Then to make the text bold, use two asterisks. So that's two asterisks, and say this at the start, this text is bold. End it with two asterisks, and that will be some bold text. Another syntax, as I showed you, you write two double underscores and say this is also bold. Then again two underscores, and that will also be bold. Very, very simple. Then you can also combine, let's say you want it to be italic, but again another word should also be bold. Then you can write some underscore. So we are going to make this text italic. My country. Then I want Uganda to be bold, so I do double asterisks. So my country, Uganda. Again, end it with this double asterisks. My country, Uganda is great. Then end it with some underscore. So we have combined all these two stylings in one sentence. So my country, Uganda. So where Uganda is bold and the rest are italic. All italic, but Uganda is bold. So we have combined all these stylings in one line. Very, very simple. So let us create another heading, and we are going to call it, not at symbol, pound symbol. So, and this, they are going to be lists. So for the lists, to create a list, you use this asterisk. So one, you create that asterisk, one star symbol, leave a space, and let's say write item 1. Then you go again, write an asterisk, leave a space, write item 2. You go on like that. Item 3. Then if you want to create, let's say, some inner or sub items, you just leave some space and put there an asterisk, then leave a space and write item 4. So that's how you create inner or sub list items. Very, very simple. Item 5. Very, very simple. Even you can call them sub items. Sub item 4. So this is, let's say, sub item 3. Also this, very simple. So you just, it's a matter of leaving a space where these are. You just leave tab, go one step in front and add this. So those are the lists. Then let us create some heading here. So that's heading 2, and we say ordered lists. As you can see, it's a simple language to master. So this is what the users will be seeing. This is the preview, and this is what we are writing. You can see how it's very simple. Just using an asterisk and the space, you have created a list item. So this is unordered list item. So for the ordered items, then you just write a number, leave a space, and say num1. So that's number 1. So here you just write real numbers, num2. Write a number, a full stop, and num3. So these are the ordered list items. Very simple. Now let's go to images. So inserting, leave a space, inserting images. So that's the heading. And to insert an image, it's very simple. First of all, you write an exclamation mark and then the square brackets. Very simple. So what you write here is the alternative text, or let's say the alt text. Let's say it's going to be my image. I can say Oston at Portobello landing site, and then here write the parentheses. So right now, as you can see here, they are trying to show us we are creating some image tag, but it's not found, and what they are displaying is this alternative text. So in case the image doesn't load, they display this to the user. And right now I have some image in this subfolder I showed you in the beginning. So I will first write the folder name, img image. Then when we go inside, there is an image called team.jpg, and that's what the users will be seeing. Very simple. So that's how you can insert an image in Markdown. Start with the exclamation mark, then the alternative text that you want to display to the user in case it fails to load, and then in this parentheses you write the relative path to the image. If it's an image on the internet, just copy its URL and insert it here. It will be displayed to the user. So remember, the format is the alternative exclamation mark, the alternative text, and the URL. Very simple. Now we are going to see next how you can insert a link. So linking a web page or pages, not pages, pages. Very simple. So to create a link on the page, you can use the same method we use here, but forgetting about the exclamation mark, use this. Then here you write the text that the users will be clicking on. So visit my channel. So this is the text that the user will be seeing. So in the parentheses, then you put the URL that you want the users to go to. So https youtube.com/Oston code Cypher. So this is what the users will be seeing. when the user clicks here, he will be heading to the URL that you have written here. So that's how you can link a web page or insert a link in your document. So this is a link. Very simple. I guess you can see how it's very simple. So this is the text that the users will be clicking on, and this is the URL that they will be going to. Next, let us look at the block quotes. So our heading 2, and we say space, leave a space, and we say block quotes. So let's say you have a quote that you want to display to the user, and say, as Oston said. What did I say? Then you just put this greater than symbol, so that, and say, let's say, welcome back to my channel. That's what I said. Welcome back to my channel. I already say that when I'm starting a tutorial. So Oston said or once said. As Oston said, welcome back to my channel, and see how it will be displayed to the user. So it will be in some block quote format. Very simple. That's a block quote. You can insert as many as you want, but that's how you create one. Then let us look at some code highlighting syntax. Let's say you want to highlight code in your project. Let's say it's JavaScript. You want the user to know that this is JavaScript. Then you can write some 3 backticks, and these ticks are above the tab key on your keyboard, or next on the left hand side of 1 on your keyboard. So write 3 backticks, then again below just press enter and write another 3 backticks. So what we are having are these 6 backticks. In the middle we can write any code that we feel like. Let us create a simple function here, and we say greet user, and let's say this JavaScript, so I'm going to write console.log, and I just say hello user, and it with a semicolon. So this is what will be displayed to the user. So let me first put some heading here. So as you go on, you'll be getting used to the syntax. So writing some heading 2, just write those 2 hash signs and say code highlighting or highlights. So right now we have written JavaScript, but for the user to really know that this is JavaScript, on the first 3 backticks, immediately after the last backtick, just write the name of the language. So this code, it's JavaScript, so just write there the language name, so JavaScript, and see what's going to happen. They will just color or just add some syntactical coloring on our code. Very simple. So that's JavaScript. The word JavaScript won't appear anywhere, but it will tell Markdown that the code that is inside here is for JavaScript. Very simple. So it's us who can put here, let's say some h3 or a paragraph. Let us just write this is JavaScript code. Then let us go down here and write this is Python code. So again write the 3 backticks, again close them below here, and let us write some Python. let's say we have move, the function of move, and here we can write print and want to print out started moving. And to tell Markdown that this is Python, just go right there and write Python, and this is how it will style the Python code. As you go on, you'll be seeing ways, like any language that you'll be trying to use. Let's say SQL. Let me just copy this, I don't want to bore you guys. Paste that and we say SQL, and automatically Markdown won't know if this is SQL. You probably throw up an error somewhere, but this is not SQL. So for it to know SQL, you have to write, to add some syntactical coloring on your code, you have to write the real SQL. So select all from users. So as you can see, it has styled it, so that is SQL. If we add some PHP here, let's say, let me create a variable here and I call it query and I assign it to that. So let me put this in brackets. So still it will be selecting the SQL because it's the language that you have specified here. If we put PHP, then our variable will also be highlighted, so the entire statement will be for PHP. But if you specify SQL only, then they will highlight the SQL query. Very simple, but let us highlight it all by specifying PHP, and that's the code highlighting or highlights. This is PHP code. Very simple. So that's how you highlight your code in your readme file. Let's say you want to display some block of code to the user and how it's used for, so you put it under these backticks, then below it or above it you explain what it does. As you have seen here, this JavaScript code, let's say that says hello to the users, then you can go on and be doing that. Then we have looked at, let's say, the headings, styling text, lists, ordered lists, inserting images in your documents, linking to external pages, even you can link to relative pages in your project, then how you can write block quotes, then highlighting code in your files, stuff like that. So probably that's what you can do with these things. Then let us look at task lists. Right now this preview won't display what you want to see, but if you are to push this code on GitHub, then you will be able to see what we will be talking about. So let us put some heading here, h2, and I call it task lists. And as the name says, you'll be having tasks to accomplish or work on. So you just put some dash sign here and then these square brackets, and that will be for an empty task. Let's say this task is incomplete, and for a complete task we just put this, a complete task, you just put these square brackets and X in the middle and write this is complete. As I said, this preview, it won't be showing you what you want to see, but what you're seeing on the screen is what will be displayed to you if you are to push this code on GitHub. So I guess you're not confused, but it will just be displaying some already. This one will be some already ticked checkbox, and this will be empty, so it is incomplete. And what you have completed, you just put X, and on GitHub it will be having that tick sign, so it is completed. Those are the task lists. Then let us go to the tables. Creating tables. And to create a table is very simple. So you just have to use these dash signs and the pipe signs. Let's say name. Then to separate it with the other column, you put this pipe sign and then write, let's say, age. And below it, you put the dashes. Make sure you align it the way you're seeing this side, and also add this, and it create a simple table. As you can see, they are formatted it this way. So we have two columns of name and age. So what you have to do when you're creating, let's say we shall put team here, then go right there and put this pipe symbol back and write 25. Then write John. Oh, sorry for the sounds out there. Pipe symbol and say 20. So that's a simple table that you can create. Let's say Jane, pipe symbol 13. That's how you can create a simple table. Just write the column name, age, then below it use the dashes to separate these headings with the data that you'll be inputting here. As you can see, it's a thick text decoration styling here on the first line, and for the rows of team is 25, they use the light decoration style, so of underline, so it's just light, not that crazy. That's how you create tables using the Markdown. Very simple. So you can write a lot of code using Markdown. I don't want to frustrate you guys with a lot of code, so I'm going to leave some link in the description below, so you go and look further, because you may be wanting something that you have not created or talked about in this tutorial and be able to do it on your own. But so far, this is what mostly all readme files have. So the tables, the lists, code highlights, inserting images, linking to external pages, as you've seen, creating Blockquotes, stuff like that. Then under styling text, where did we write styling text here, then we can even strike through text. For example, we can write strike through, and to create a strike through text, use the tilde keys or symbols. So just press shift plus that button above the tab key, so you bring at the extreme first end, put those two tilde symbols also at the end, and you will have a strike through text. So that falls under styling text. Then if you are to scroll down, then there is another one. Let's put the heading 2, the hash symbols, and we say mentions. So in case you want to mention somebody you're working with on the project, you just have to apply an @ symbol and the username of that person on GitHub. Let's say Oston code. is also a contributor. So right now on the preview you may not see it, but this is how you link or mention somebody in your project. Let's say it's a readme file that you have pushed on GitHub, then this will act as a link to that person's profile. So I hope guys you enjoyed this tutorial of the Markdown language. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I'll always see you in the next tutorials. Peace. We have gone through a lot and I hope you got something.